Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perri. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perri. Odyssey's Leading Ladies, presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.
Hey, you can't find that on the radio. Yo, turn to that station.
Radio you can touch.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
We'll talk a lot today as soon as Jeff is capable.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Jeff Lutz.
You're not making any sense.
Oh, that's true.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Are you ready? Let's go!
Hello, everybody. Welcome a Monday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show on KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz, your co-host. Max Power, producing, engineering. 869-1240 is the phone number. I like these new promos they're running on for KFH, where the folks talk about how great our sports.
Wonder who they hired to do that.
Well, I don't know, but our sports coverage is wonderful,
isn't it?
No inflection at all in the voice.
Well,
I'd probably say take two, and let's try to get a little more upbeat.
That voiceover process is exhaustive. You got to sort through a lot of different candidates.
Well, no, here's what I'd say.
I've been through that before.
Well, you're a terrible voiceover guy.
I'm not a voiceover guy.
If they came to me, here's what I'd say. KFH gives you the best sports coverage in Wichita.
But they're not supposed to sound like that. No one talks like that. They're supposed to sound like.
Supposed to sound like KFH gives you.
Yeah, they're supposed to sound like people talking to one another.
KFH gives you really good.
When I come up
coverage.
to you and say, "Hey, Bob, check out KFH for your sports
KFH
needs,"
gives you really good sports coverage. We hope you'll listen. But
no, it's like, hey, do you know KFH has really good sports content?
We'll find someone else. What a joke!
I think you're a joke.
You think I'm a joke?
Yeah, that was an unfair portrayal of that whole situation.
Does Max have any of them to run?
I don't know, but I've heard a couple. I know what you're talking about, but it's like, hey, if you want to listen.
I mean,
to
they handed him a few words and said, "Would you mind?" Was this locally done?
No chance.
Well, I don't know. I'd like to know more about
online, you get a voiceover actor, you try him out, and you pick one.
No, these people are voiceover actors.
Absolutely.
I want you to sound near dead as you read.
They're talking. It's a conversation. They're conversing with. Hey, you know that KFH has pretty good sports talk. That's how you talk around the water cooler. You wouldn't go up to some. Hey, Mike.
Stop
you listen
with
to
that.
Jim Rome today, bud.
You sound like a moron.
That's what I'm saying.
And I use that word very delicately. Because nobody wants to be called that.
Well, that's what
I get it. But
that's what you wanted them to sound like, apparently.
No, I want them to say KFH has really good sports coverage. Like they're excited about it.
Do we, though?
Sure we do.
Okay.
Around the clock, almost.
Yeah.
I mean, the sports coverage here is incredible. Use that.
Maybe they should. I don't know. Maybe they should have asked us to. Maybe this whole conversation will be the next promo.
Max, do you have any of those that we could run or not? Are those just embedded?
I think they're embedded. I'll look for them. I try to find Tony to ask, but I would say it's like when you hear the radio stations where the artists go, "Oh, this is me," and I think it is.
Yeah, but put a little.
Yeah, I
think
it is
something in it.
People that just get
crying
people to
out
say
loud.
stuff.
That's like me going, "Well, the Cardinals are playing okay." I mean, come on.
Well, they are.
Yeah, but if that's the case, and they are pitching okay, they're not hitting much.
Who cares?
But I'll say this. Man, the Cardinals' pitching has looked pretty good so far. There. That's all you need.
Cardinals' pitching's looked pretty good so far.
There you go.
Just as, it can be as understated.
You don't need
as
to be. Cardinals look like they have decent pitching.
I think,
I can't
exaggerating.
I've always had a thing against people who are just meek and don't want to reach out and don't want to take a chance and don't want to be heard. I don't. Those people.
Some people don't want to be heard or don't need to be heard or don't feel like being heard.
But you understand why those people kind of bother me. Nothing against them necessarily.
Well, you just said a lot against them.
They're probably fine people, but if you're gonna step forward in this world, You can't just sit in the shadows. Look at that.
How would you describe
I think
your
I have
wife?
some.
Not meek at all.
What is she?
She's perfect. She knows exactly what to say and when to say
Is
it.
she a confrontational person?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, then I'm just trying to establish the line because Debbie's one of the softest, sweetest, most caring.
She'll knock your head off. You walk up to her and call her soft sometime and see what happens.
Why would that bother her?
You'll lose an eye is what's going to happen. Max, let's hear a couple of them.
KFH's sports coverage is the best. They always keep me updated with all the latest happenings.
KFH is my number one station for sports. They always have the latest news and the best analysis.
Unbelievable.
Just can't get enough of KFH's sports coverage. They always keep me in the loop.
They always keep me in the loop.
Yeah, those are definitely just
happy about
people
it.
they
Thank you,
found.
Max. Like he just learned the word loop. They doesn't even know the meaning of loop. They always keep me in the loop. What's loop?
Hey, well, it's what they do. It's what we do. Keep that guy in the loop.
He doesn't even know what loop means. You can tell by the way he said it. You want me to read? Okay, they keep me in the loop.
Isn't that crazy? They hired somebody to do that?
Well, I'd like to hear more about it. That's all I'm saying. I want things.
Or maybe it was AI. Who knows?
Well, it could be AI. That's a very good thought. That may be, hey, here's what we want AI to say. Go for it.
Just throw it in and we'll pop it out.
All right. Here's what we have for you today on the show as we wind down the college basketball season, the high school basketball season. Lots of stuff going on. Brian Green, the Wichita State baseball coach, joins us at 2:25. They salvaged a third game yesterday against nationally ranked Iowa. Came back and won that game handily after playing, probably should have had the game against Virginia on Friday. Got away from them a little bit on Saturday against Auburn. So 1-2 on that trip. Brian Green joins us at 2:25. At 2:45, Brett Floyd, the boys basketball coach at Derby. Panthers have picked a good time to get hot going into sub-state play. So we'll talk to Brett Floyd coming up in a moment. They look to me like they got a pretty good path to the 6A state tournament. He won't agree with that, but I've done my research.
You have. I've looked at the brackets. I can't say I know them by heart.
No, I do.
So I don't remember who Derby's playing.
That should be a promo. Bob Lutz knows this
Who's
stuff
Derby
by
got?
heart.
Round one.
Bob Lutz knows
That's what
this
I
stuff
thought.
by heart.
Who they
That's
got?
what they ought to say.
Who they got?
I don't know. They got Campus in the second round, most likely.
That's a tough game.
3:25, we'll have a Bob and Jeff draft. I just probably lost interest in this because I'm just killing it.
What do you mean?
I've won like 4 or 5 in a row.
Well, who cares? What's the category?
I'll pick one here in a little bit. So we'll do a Bob and Jeff draft. What will it be?
I don't know. You always pick sports, though.
No, I'm not going to pick sports today.
Good.
I watched a great documentary, 2 of them yesterday on Netflix. Without sports, you can delve into those. American Nightmare, have you seen that?
Of course.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw
That was pretty good.
a few weeks ago.
And then they have a documentary about drummers. Have you watched that one?
I have not. I didn't know
Count
that
Me
existed.
In or something like that. Fantastic.
Who was featured in that?
Well, the 2 drummers that were most featured were John Bonham and
What band?
The Who. Moon.
Keith Moon.
Keith Moon. No Don Henley mention. I know that's what you're fishing for.
Well, I did my good Don Henley deed today.
They had Ringo Starr. What'd you do with Don Henley?
Well, I didn't like the story that the Associated Press put up initially because it focused on his arrest primarily.
What story?
The AP story about he testified in the lyrics trial today. And the story was all about how he was arrested, didn't even get to the actual trial until Graph 11. So I sent out a little email.
To the AP?
To the writer of the story.
You did?
I did. And the story has now been drastically changed.
Well, that's just pathetic.
I didn't
censor.
I didn't like it. It was
Who cares
sensational.
if you liked it?
Well, I can express my opinion.
You can edit it for your purposes. I've never heard of anybody emailing the AP saying,
"No, it wasn't for us. We didn't use that. It was. I was sending it as a fan."
Well, I would. You know what I would have said had I been the AP? I got
Did you
your
read
fan.
it?
No, I didn't read it.
It was pathetic.
I got your fan.
This was the.
I'll look at it later. I don't have time. I got a lot going
Eagles
on.
Don Henley testifies that a poor decision led to his 1980 arrest. That was the headline. Is he on trial?
Well, that's ridiculous. Good job. Whatever. Whatever you needed to do.
And the headline's been changed. The story's been changed.
Whatever. I'm okay with it. It's fine.
Thank you.
I don't think I watched a second of sports over the weekend except for, and I'm thankful I did this, the KU State women's game.
You didn't watch the Shockers yesterday.
I did watch the Shockers. Some of it. I can't watch the Shockers. I watched the end of it. I watched the last 8 minutes. I watched the Cardinals. I guess I did watch sports.
Watched every pitch of 2 spring training games.
The women's game, Lynette Woodard was at the table with the commentators for a good amount of time, and I love that.
Of course.
As she's getting some notoriety as Caitlin Clark closes in on her record.
Right. College basketball.
The record.
And she'll break
in women's college basketball.
She's close to breaking it, right? 30 points or something, 20. But yeah, that's the record. Lynette has the record.
You hate it when I sound old.
No, I agree with you.
Lynette Woodard does not get the accolades she deserves.
Well, it's too bad she played in that era.
Because in the men's game, the pioneers of men's college basketball get their due.
It's kind of the coaches on the women's side: Pat Summitt, Tara Vanderveer, some of the others.
I tell you what, you pull Tara Vanderveer aside next time you're around her and ask her about Lynette Woodard.
Well, I'm not arguing with you.
I'm telling you.
I try to be a voice of reason in these things occasionally.
Pull her aside.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but my whole mission in life is to figure out why people do things.
Lynette Woodard averaged more than 24 points. Maybe, I think I got that right. It could be 26. More than 10 rebounds in her career, might be 12, and 5 steals per game in her career. Can you imagine 5 steals a game for your career?
That's pretty darn good. There's no questioning her greatness.
When I played her one-on-one, I protected the ball. There were no
steals?
No steals.
Yeah, right.
No, seriously.
She picked your pocket like it was a bag of Skittles.
I remember that. Totally.
Well, she still whooped you.
She still won, but there were no steals.
Well, yeah, because you just got the ball at the top of the key and shot. It's not like
I tried to work the ball inside some.
You don't dribble.
Of course I dribble.
Then she would have stolen it.
I may have gotten a steal or two against her.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Now,
absolutely.
she may have. Rumor has it she may have dominated the boards, but I don't remember that for sure.
Well, because she didn't miss and you did, so she did dominate the board.
Well, I mean, even when she missed. There was a couple that she probably snuck in there and got the offensive rebound.
It sounds like you didn't even score in this game.
It was 30-16.
Why'd you play to 30?
I don't know. We played by 2s.
All right. How do you remember the score?
I just do. I'll never forget the score. I was in it for a little bit. I think it was 2-0 me once.
Yeah,
but then,
probably.
Yeah, it was.
It's like he got game. You score a couple, and then it's just domination after that.
I hung with her for a little bit, but not long.
She was toying with you.
She may. You know what? I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna downgrade myself.
Okay, well then, yeah, you hung right with her.
I don't know why you feel the need to downgrade me or diminish what I've done.
Because I just do. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean, when I was working at the Derby Daily Reporter, we had a young woman. Tennis player at Derby High School. Her name's Julie Woodman. She was out really good, like really good.
Okay.
And I challenged her to a match.
And got killed.
In tennis.
Why do you do this? Why are you, Bob, what was the guy's name?
Bobby
Riggs. Why do you?
It was on the heels of Bobby Riggs.
Why are you like that? What do you think you have to
Good copy,
prove?
man.
No, terrible copy.
Good copy. It was why do I remember it? I'll guarantee if you call Julie Woodman right now. By the way, she's a Facebook
You think there's
friend of
some
mine.
columnist out in Iowa City or Ames or Des Moines? Oh, I'm going to take on Caitlin Clark. That would be shot down so fast. What do you need to embarrass yourself in our publication?
How does it embarrass the publication?
I don't know. It's just a bad idea.
Isn't it fun?
It's a little sexist.
It's a little. See, that you've taken it too far.
It is like, oh, I'm a man. I can beat this woman. I'm a non-athlete, average white guy.
Do you think I went into either of those thinking I was going to win?
100%.
You really do?
Yes.
You think I thought I was going to win a tennis match against Julie Woodman?
No question.
When I sucked at tennis.
No question in my mind. I
And
believe
think
that.
I thought going into that game against Lynette Woodard, probably the best, in my opinion, the best women's basketball player of all time. You think I thought I had a shot?
Yes, I do. Why do it?
For the good copy.
Oh, predictable is good copy?
You know that Bill McKay wrote a column about it?
Who?
Bill McKay used to work at the
Why didn't you write a column about it?
Because I wanted him to.
All right. That's bizarre, but okay. Shouldn't
I've gotten great fodder off of that for years. Lynette, when I see her, it's one of the first things we talk about. Are you kidding? She loved it.
But I still believe that you thought you would win, yes.
No, absolutely not.
Yes, a little part of you.
No.
There's no way.
No.
I know you too well.
There's absolutely no chance. Now, the game against Lynette, I thought I might do a little better than I did. The tennis match against Julie, no way. No way.
What was that for?
Just, you know.
Did you write about that?
Of course I did. Again, good copy. That's what you're looking for.
I'd have to read it to tell you if it was good copy.
You're looking for good copy.
I guess.
Something to entertain the readers. If you have to put yourself out there and get a little shellacked in the process, oh well.
Yeah. You thought you'd win.
You'd never do that. You would have never said to Jackie Stiles, Jackie.
Right, I wouldn't have.
Let's lace them up.
Exactly. You're 100% correct. Although I did almost.
That's called fear.
No, it's not. It's called, what's the point here?
No, that's called fear.
I almost once thought about, I don't know if I took the idea to anybody, maybe Joanna, playing Connor Frankamp and horse.
That would have been a laughable moment.
Oh, I would have easily got an H on him.
You wouldn't have done anything.
Oh, who knows?
That would have been awful. Now, that would have been awful.
Yeah, but still, good copy.
No, that's not even good copy.
Why not?
Because, first of all, there's nothing interesting about it.
I would have hung.
No, you wouldn't have hung.
I would have hung right in.
No, he would have killed you. It would have been over in 5 shots, and that would have been it.
Well,
and
that would have been fun.
No, that's not fun.
That's funny. If he beats me in 5 shots.
You're in the game for a little while against Lynette Woodard, and then she, maybe starts to take it a little more seriously and blows you out. But that's okay. That was good copy.
Didn't you say you could do it with one hand tied behind your back?
No, of course not.
Are you sure?
Of course I am. I had the utmost respect for Lynette Woodard, and still do to this day.
Well, I would hope
She's the best basketball player I ever played one-on-one against.
Duh.
No, and I played against some good people.
Like who?
Like some James Lister, who played at Friends back in the day, out of Liberal, Kansas. One of the quickest.
He beat you too.
No, we played a lot. I told you I went to the Garvey Gym at Friends when it was the YMCA back in the day, long time ago, and played there almost every afternoon, every lunch period. I was a basketball guy.
Yeah, sure.
For a while.
I remember.
So don't be
You did play some ball.
Don't be knocking around, man. I don't have time for it.
My bad.
We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll talk Shocker baseball with their head coach, Brian Green. Wichita State 3-3 on the young season. They have a game against Oral Roberts in Tulsa on Wednesday, and their first home series this weekend at X Stadium against Utah Tech. Brian Green next.
Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Brian Green, Wichita State baseball coach. They're 3-3 coming off a 1-2 weekend in Jacksonville against some really good competition. Brian, welcome. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having us on. And Monday day off, and then get back to work with Oral Roberts Wednesday, and then the home opener weekend against Utah Tech starting on Friday. So busy week. We have gone from being new and not playing to right in the thick of the season, and it's fast forward. Here we go.
Happens quickly. So I was really impressed by your offense over the weekend in Jacksonville against some very good teams, some good pitching staffs. It looks like you've given pretty much everybody a shot. What's your opinion of things after 6 games with the offense?
Yeah, we like our position core. We went into the season really with an intent of 12 to 13 guys early. I think that number has gone up to 15, and we're still going to be working for just that combination. It's looking like right now, and again, it always changes, guys, but clearly right now, after 6 games, Derek Williams and Gustafson, Stroh, and David Johnson are very good players for us right now. But we've got some guys who have contributed off the bench in the outfield. But I think you're still going to see a little bit of a rotation over the course of the next 2-3 weeks. We're going to score some runs. Our guys have bought into an approach, and they're tough. They compete, and we're really optimistic about what we've seen. Over 2 weeks on the road, we've seen mix, we've seen left, we've seen right, we've seen power, we've seen specialists. We've really seen a lot of variety, and our guys have been able to handle most of it. Particularly with us being as left-handed as we are, we've been able to fend off left-handed pitching. We saw some premier left-handed pitching this weekend, so that was a real positive. We've got to shore up our infield defense, and we're still trying to find that combination of having defenders in there and still not being too defensive and not offensive enough. So we're still really trying to find that. I think that's probably our biggest goal as we move into this week and move closer towards conference play, is improving our infield defense. But there's a lot to like about this team, and I think the fans are really going to enjoy watching them play. They play hard.
Yeah, so we obviously know that as far as the coaching staff goes, there's no link to Gene and previous staffs. But to me, it feels like this is the most Gene team since Gene left. There's a lot of guys that were maybe overlooked. There's guys that are kind of getting that first chance. I know that doesn't apply to everybody. You have some really big-time recruits. But can that be an identity kind of in year one, just a team that kind of has nothing to lose?
That is so awesome that you just said that. That makes us really happy because, Gene has been such a big part of our thing. He's been at my house a few times, and he's spoken to the team, and he hasn't missed an inning of scrimmage in the spring or the fall, and he's got a beat on our team. But I listen to him all the time. He's a mentor, and I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the history of this game, and I've got a free opportunity to listen to him. And one of the things that he said, guys, and he has said it multiple times, he said, Coach, you've got to play everybody. Some guys are going to surprise you, and some guys are going to surprise you the other way. But either way, you've got to play them, and you got to play them all. And if it's a pressure situation and you don't think they can handle it, that's exactly the time you need to put them in, because you need to find out over the next 5 weeks. He's reminded us how he went 7-11 before, reeling off 73 wins and going to Omaha. But I listen to a lot of things that Coach says, and that's one of them is play everybody. And we've been really intentional with that. But to your point in that question on the second part of it is, this is a grindy team. We don't have any high profile. We weren't concerned with perfect game rankings. We're concerned with mentality and makeup and hard work and having an attitude and a chip. And I think we're leading the country in hit by pitch right now. I'm really happy with that. That's a toughness indicator, and it'll also create some predictability at the plate. We're tough with 2 strikes. We've executed, and we're done really well with 2 outs in terms of 2-out RBI situations. So for you to say that we look like a Gene team, that's quite a compliment. And I hope we can continue that trend, and I hope the players are listening today on our day off.
Talking with Brian Green from Wichita State, maybe an area that you don't exactly look like a Gene team. I don't know that after 6 games he ever had 17 pitchers toe the rubber, but that's exactly where you are. So you're looking at everybody. How much is the early season in college baseball a little bit like spring training in Major League Baseball? Is there a comparison in your mind with that?
I think it really depends, guys, on where you are and what your league looks like in terms of automatic bids and regional bids and hosts and things like that. And for us, I think there'll be a little more continuity moving forward, but we certainly are treating it that way, and we're certainly not taking any games lightly and not thinking about winning every game. But at the end of the day, I'm really taking note of what Coach is talking about, and I'm at peace with it. And that's knowing that we're going to be better in 2 months if we give a lot of people opportunities right now, so we know exactly what we have, and with 35 new players on this team, of which essentially you have Mauricio and Caden really is the only guys who truly, really had success and contributed. I know Seth's been on the field, and so is Gus and Rogers a little bit a few years ago, but not a lot of experience. So it's just been really important to us to play everybody. I think with those 17 arms that have towed the mound, we hope to get that down to 12. We can make that happen, but we've got an opportunity, I think, to be pretty balanced on the mound left and right. And at the plate, we're really trying to really formulate for us, because we're so left-handed on the roster, is to make sure that we're in position to be able to platoon on certain days, or at least match that up with more right-handers in lineup. So it's been really fun. I haven't looked at it, the data, but I'm assuming that in 6 games there have been 6 completely different lineups. And I think that we're up to 15 position players that have been on the field as well.
What does a midweek game give you an opportunity maybe to do in the pitching staff? You've had the same guys in the weekend rotation. It seems like Caden is pretty locked in the Friday spot, at least for now. How fluid is the weekend rotation, and what are you kind of looking to do in the midweek moving forward?
Yeah, the midweek situation for Wichita State here for us is just, a lot of times you get experience in midweeks and you get some new guys in there. And then when you're at Wichita State, it's Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oral Roberts and Nebraska. So for us, it'll be an opportunity for this week. It's a Wednesday. You'll see a staff situation. Typically on a Tuesday, that would be somebody potentially trying out for a weekend job in 2 weeks. But this week on Wednesday, you'll see 5, 6, maybe 7 pitchers, just given that it's Wednesday and we can keep people fresh for the weekend. Moving into the weekend, Favors has been as solid as anybody in the country. He's been really good. Both sides of the plate with change and breaking ball, and he's kept both left and right off balance. Zhang has been pretty good, obviously really good against Little Rock. was much better than his line shows yesterday, but the feel wasn't there, and he was missing by an inch or two, and it was a really tight zone all weekend for all of the pitchers. And then Tommy's got to get better. He's got great stuff, and he's a great competitor, but he's had two of the same type of outings where he's been overpumped. So excited about other guys potentially. Michael Mulholland, who we haven't seen yet, or Brady Hamilton, who closed it off yesterday. Maybe a Tyler Dobbs. There are certainly some options for us, both left and right-handed.
Wichita State baseball coach Brian Green, our guest. How important, you mentioned that you don't have many players that Shocker fans are very familiar with, but Mauricio Milan is one of those. How important was it for him to return, not only at the very important position that he plays as a catcher, but also his leadership with a team that's just kind of getting to know one another? How important is it to have that guy like Mauricio, who's so much a leader and has experience in the program and can kind of lead things on the field?
When you're a new coach, you look at numbers a lot, and you look at previous stats, and you have questions, and you wonder, like, man, how did Mauricio catch 54 games? I mean, how could they do that to him and beat him up like that? And then the first game of the spring happens, and Mo is catching, and I told the coaches after that, I said, that's why he caught 54 games last year. He is, to your question and to your point, what a leader. Just a positive teammate, a great worker, a great communicator. How important has he been to our culture? It's been everything. He was the glue early on. He was the one guy that the freshmen could look to, and he brought them in with open arms and said, this is how we want to do it around here. And him, along with Stroh and Favors and Rogers, have really enabled us to have a great vibe, and the fans will see that. With 35 new players, typically pretty hard to bring a team together. This team acts like they've been playing together for 3 years. There's a ton of energy, and it's pretty optimistic. So, but I think Mo was really the backbone of that in the fall, and I think Seth Stroh and Jordan Rogers and Cade Favors were also a part of that, and really enabled us to kind of hit the ground running culturally.
Is there a reason, do you think, Coach, for so many hit-by pitches? Usually it's just, maybe a pitcher losing command or control for a pitch. Maybe it's a guy working inside. Do you think there's a reason for that, why more teams have more hit-by pitches than others?
Well, I can certainly tell you that you're going to see Wichita State Shockers get hit by pitches quite a bit as long as we're here on the offensive side. There are, if you look at the top offenses in the country annually, typically every year, the teams who score the most runs are also somewhere in that top 5 or 10 in HBP. And I think it's not only that maybe you're on the plate and protecting against the outer half where the game is played, but there's also a component of your hitters waiting as long as they can before they make moves. And if your hitters are waiting a really long time, they're making late decisions. And if they're making later decisions, they're not chasing pitches. And next thing you know, we're getting more walks and getting on base more. And I know personally as a hitting coach, I think it was both Kentucky and New Mexico State. We led the country in HBP at both of those schools. And that's a big deal for us, because it creates some predictability on the pitching side. And we start piling those numbers up, those pitching coaches are going to we better just stay on the outer half. And all of us as baseball people know that when the pitch is being delivered at the same consistent part of the plate, it's a lot easier to hit. So we work hard on that, and that was a cultural thing, and waiting as long as you can. And there's some safety involved as well as, doing it the right way so you don't get hurt. But the rules in the game protect you against that anyways. You can't try to get hit anymore like those teams in the West Coast used to do.
Brian Green, our guest, last question, and it's kind of a selfish question, because when Darnell Parker Jr. committed to Wichita State last year, we had him on the show, and we were just flabbergasted at his poise and the way he described himself and his enthusiasm for coming to Wichita State. I know he's off to a bit of a slow start, although he did homer in a game. Is he a kid that you see with a really bright future?
Yes, Yeah, we do. Like I said, we're really in a position to try to figure out what we have. If you look at us defensively, some version of Johnson and Parker and Durnan and Rogers, those would be kind of your second, third, and shortstop infielders. Darnell really comes and gets the ball better than anyone that we have. He's got the most personality of anyone we have. He had a really rough game on Friday, and we just didn't feel it. And he was wearing it. There was a piano on his shoulders because he threw 2 balls away that led to runs. And in the 8th inning, I think if he plays catch, we probably win. But that's baseball, and we weren't down on him. And I wanted to protect him, to be quite honest. And, you'll see him back out there again this week. I think he's got a huge future. We recruited him heavily, and I think he's got a chance to be a really special defender. And just want to see him take a little bit, maybe a little off his shoulders and just be a little more comfortable in playing. And I think you'll see that out of him. Same thing with Durnan. You've got some talented freshmen, but you're going to see all those guys on the field. Yeah, but D's got a big future, I think, and he's got a great personality, and we'll get him back out there this week.
Oral Roberts in Tulsa Wednesday night, then home for the season opening home series against Utah Tech. Looks like you're going to get some good weather. That's always a plus here in late February, early March. Brian, thank you for coming on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity. We'll see everyone at Eck this weekend. Go Shocks.
Thanks.
All right. Brian Green, Wichita State baseball coach.
I like him a lot.
Good.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm sure he's happy about that. When a coach takes a job in Wichita, one of the first things they are told is make sure Jeff Lutz likes you. And
I'm not an easy mark,
No,
it takes a lot to win me over.
He's off and running.
No doubt.
Quit kicking the table.
I'm not kicking any table.
That would really help.
There are no tables.
Quit kicking whatever you're kicking.
I'm not kicking anything.
The noise that you make down here is irritating as all get out.
How do you even hear it? You're old and you have earphones on.
Here's Brett Flory, the boys basketball coach at Derby, who may have saved Jeff's life, because I'm about ready to
bring it.
Hey, Brett, how are you?
I'm doing well, but I can sympathize. I was always accused of my leg jiggling under the dinner table when I was a kid and suffered many a threat from my father and mother, so I understand.
Well, let me tell you, we didn't bring you people into the world to irritate us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's our fault entirely. Yep.
So let's talk about your basketball team, because you've had a few ups and downs this year, but you seem to be really kind of figuring it out at the optimum time of the season. Tell us how that's come together.
We've got just a wonderful group of kids that have really, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, unified in a big time way. We had a little adversity. We ended up without someone who had been our leading scorer, and at that point the season looked pretty bleak, but we were 5-6 at that point. Since then we've won 8 out of 9 and easily could have been 9 out of 9. We lost an overtime game to May South that we kind of let get away from us in the last minute of regulation where we were up 5. But, the main thing is that it's been a true team effort, complete unselfishness. Our defense has been really, really good. And, they've just found a way to win the close ones. And then they've had some where we've been able to blitz some other teams pretty well. And it's been a lot of fun. That's the main thing. And win or lose, it's been so much fun over the last few weeks.
Yeah, you talked about a team effort, and that's kind of where I was going to go. And you lose a big offensive piece. It's not typically that one guy can replace that production. So how much have you needed kind of the whole team to not only provide the offensive thump maybe, but like you said, the defense. So if you lack some scoring, it won't be too bad.
Yeah, that's what's been huge is everyone's elevated their game just a little bit. Mason Anderson, a senior for us, has been tremendous. But on days where he's been a little bit off, Caden Franklin, our big kid, has been just a double-double machine. He's had an 18-rebound game, a 16-rebound game, multiple, 10, 12, up to I think 26 point was his high this season. Jacko Willing's been right there, and many other guys have chipped in, but it's really been an elevation of everyone else's game to help make up for some scoring that we lost. And defensively, we've really picked up probably defending as well as a team that as I've ever had right now. And we can do it in a lot of ways: full court pressure, half court pressure, even some matchup zone, which is not something we've typically done in the past, and been able to kind of mix and match those to help us be successful.
Talking high school basketball with Brett Flory, the head coach of the boys at Derby High School. They have Dodge City coming in Wednesday evening, and then if they get that one, they'll face the winner of Campus Garden City in the Sub-State Championship game coming up Saturday. So how does the Western bracket of Class 6A look to you? We know Heights is going to be very good. They have a potential rematch in their Sub-State with Southeast, the only team to have beaten Heights this year. So that's interesting. Junction City maybe has flown under the radar a little bit. They're 18-2. You've got Wichita Northwest, which beat Capon. Mays is playing better. What are your thoughts on Class 6A in the West?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right in that there is certainly danger in every bracket for every team. I think there's, Heights obviously has been the premier team in the West all year long, and with good reason. But the one team that's defeated them sits opposite them, so I'm sure that has their attention. And then I know Coach Perez out of Junction City, he's a good friend of mine, has done just a spectacular job with that team and that program. But I know he's a little nervous about the fact that a conference rival, Manhattan, sits right opposite them in that pod there. And obviously in ours, if we were fortunate enough to win and the game on the other side went the way that you think it might, that would set up an absolute monstrous sub-state final in ours in a rivalry game with Campus potentially. So obviously we have to focus on the task right now, which is prepping for a Dodge City team that plays an unusual style and a zone that's a little bit hard to figure out that we're working on right now. But if we were fortunate enough to win, it certainly could set up a very interesting day on Saturday.
So you played McPherson closer than anybody. You played Mace South closer than anybody. I don't think either of those teams lost a game, but how comfortable or how close did you think you were to finishing those games? Sorry, I stuttered there. And what do you think happens the next time maybe you're in a situation like that?
We certainly have acquired our fair share of battle scars over the course of the year. It's no moral victories, obviously, but when you look at it, 4 of our 7 losses are to teams that are combined 40-0 right now. And the other ones, Hutchinson was 14-6. Campus finished up 12-8. So we didn't, and Andover Central finished up 13-7. So we didn't lose to a bad team all year without question. But in those games, 3 out of the 4 we had a really good chance to win. We lost the opener by 1 at MAC, where we had a shot at the end to potentially win. A call maybe didn't go our way. We had another matchup with McPherson in the semifinals of their tournament where we're down 2, and we have I think under 2 minutes left, and we had 2 great looks from 3 to take the lead, and neither of them went down. And then obviously the one at home against May South where we were up 5 late and just kind of let that one slip away from us. So we feel like we've been right there with some of the very best, and hopefully we've learned some lessons in those close games about what we can do better, and we've worked on some things and made some adjustments that hopefully, if we're in that position again, that we'll be able to close out some of those games. But that's, if nothing else, though, it's built a mental toughness level in our kids right now that I think is serving us well.
Final moments here with Brett Flory, the boys basketball coach at Derby. They've got a very good team, 13-7, trying to get back to the 6A state tournament. They have Dodge City on Wednesday night, potentially Campus, which has been Derby's biggest rival forever. And Campus may not have the glowing record that they've had in some years past, but they may have the best player in this part of the state, and Andrew Burton, and a decent supporting cast. How good is he, and how many matchup problems do they present for you guys?
Oh, they're a matchup problem for just about anyone, I'd suspect. Andrell is such a talented kid, and he can hurt you obviously on the block with his length and his size. He can hurt you from well behind the three-point arc. Tremendous in transition, tremendous rebounder. We did a good job on him the last time we faced him in our gym, but that's certainly no guarantee that can happen again. Kason Thomas is just about as tough a matchup as Andrell. He's just such a quick and athletic point guard who's really stepped up this year and stepped up his game to a higher level. And like you said, their starting five in particular, they have some nice fits in terms of guys to play roles on that team. So very, very good team. And Zach's done a great job in his first year out there, taking over for Coach Davis. And so we know if it comes to that game that we'll more than have our hands full. At any time Derby and Campus get together, it's a zoo out here. So we know that would be the case. But first things first, obviously, I know they're locked in on Garden City as we are on Dodge City. So.
And I got a kind of a selfish question to ask you about media coverage, because I really struggle. I'm very interested in high school basketball. I always have been. It's a challenge to find out much about it. It's a challenge to keep up with what's going on. You've certainly been a part of high school basketball for a while. You remember what it was like when there was massive coverage. Is it as much fun without that coverage? Do you have to look for other ways? I don't know exactly what I'm trying to ask, but do you miss that? Do you miss the notoriety of high school basketball?
I sure do, and it's I kind of came of age as a coach. I was a young coach when it was still front page news on the Eagle and stuff like that. And as I've kind of become a little bit more of a veteran, that's gone more and more away. And thank goodness for people like Joanna Chadwick, who still do everything that they can with Vipe and all that to kind of keep the drum beating a little bit. But it is too bad. I think the evolution of social media has helped and hurt. The kind of the downfall of opening up the paper in the morning to see scores and headlines has contributed to that. So on our end, we try to do everything we can to promote our games and promote our kids via social media and all that. But I think you're right, Bob. It's not the same, and it's too bad. It was a lot of fun back in the day when it seemed like Wichita area high school basketball was where it was at, and the media coverage was a big part of that. And I think there's still some great ball here. There's some things worthy of being covered. It's just a matter of having the personnel and the resources to do it.
All right, Brett, we wish you the best of luck. Of course, those of us who went to Derby and made such a mark athletically like I did continue to care deeply about the Panthers. Thank you for coming on today.
You bet. We appreciate it, Bob. Thank you.
There you go. See, he didn't dispute that at all.
Couldn't even get a laugh out of him.
He didn't dispute it. He may have.
I don't know if he heard it.
He may have taken a moment to think, I wonder if he did do that.
And then he said, well, no. I would have heard about that by now.
Well, I mean, I had, that 17 for 17.
Allegedly.
That happened in Derby.
It sure did. No one can ever take that away from you.
That gym no longer exists.
It's too bad.
They should have given me the rim. Now that I look back
all the other times you abused it?
No, I didn't hit it. That's why
I'm saying other times.
No, I didn't. My shot didn't touch it. What do you mean, am I okay? You get me worked up.
I know.
All right, time for a break. We've got a Bob and Jeff draft coming up at 3:25 today. I'll announce the category when we return. The Bob and Jeff Show, KFH.
We all agree that reducing carbon emissions is a good thing. And once again, Toyota is leading the way. We hear a lot about fully electric vehicles, and Toyota has them, with more coming in. But we also know a BEV is not for everyone, whether it's because of cost, range, or concern about finding a charging station when you need it. Plus, the raw materials used to manufacture batteries are limited. Enter Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future. In vehicles and in manufacturing plants, too, in the years ahead. The materials used to make just one long-range battery for an EV could be used to make batteries for 6 plug-in hybrids or 90 gas-electric hybrids. That's why Toyota's position today is electrified, diversified, empowering you to choose how to reduce your own carbon footprint with the vehicle that's right for you, a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or battery EV. So shop, learn more, and get details at toyota.com/Beyond Zero. Toyota, let's go places.
Leading Ladies, a concert in celebration of Women's History Month featuring Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, Christina Perry. At the King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York on Wednesday, March 20th. Tickets are on sale now. You don't want to miss this amazing night of music dedicated to uplifting women's voices. With Kelsey Ballerini, Meghan Trainor, Elle King, and Christina Perry. Odyssey's Leading Ladies presented by Olay Body. Buy your tickets now at kingstheater.com.